Good evening. The sunlight is going down, but the lights are coming up at St Day DiaspAURA Festival tonight. And you can hear the bells that are ringing via some very funky electronics. Might have to have a go myself later on. Are you guys having fun?
Yeah,
Is it?
we're the artists that created it.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
if you want to know about campanology.
Campanology. That's the art of bell ring. Campanology. Oh, well. First.
Somebody told me that earlier.
Oh,
I'm not an
fantastic.
expert bell ringer.
Are you? I was going to say, have you actually rung bells before?
I haven't actually. Well, I spent a long time googling it and working on the physics of the of how the bells moves through its mechanism. So that's what we're simulating here, basically.
So, what made you want to create, specifically the bells?
We wanted to recreate as the church it would have been. So this was the old bell tower up there, and so we wanted to put the bells back in so that people could actually just see as the church would have been before it was all fell down.
And that's the original mechanism that you would have had. So that kind of bracing of the bell,
The
obviously it
wheel,
would have been a
yeah.
wooden structure that
So
would have held the
you've got to
bell there
imagine
originally.
these ropes wrap around that wheel, and as you pull them, so you've got to get the timing right. If you just keep pulling, it doesn't work. You have to pull and let go.
And so, did you look up a lot of the history of St Day, of the church here, and actually what the bell was like?
We did try to find some audio of the bell, which was very difficult because I think it went into disuse in the 60s.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really a lot that we could
couldn't
find in
an actual sample
terms
bell.
of
we just used a sort of a church bell that we thought would
we
sound
thought
right.
in terms
It's
of
not,
this size
it's
of
not
this
Big
church.
Ben, you know, it's
No.
a bit clankier, but it's
But
like
it
a
would-
old small church.
It would have been
yeah.
great had we found some original footage. We did think that maybe someone who'd perhaps got married in the church or something like that
Yeah.
might have had some
Something,
footage.
yeah.
So we did try to find it. But this equivalent ding dong is the sort of our own bell creation of the size of the church that we think that would be here.
And I think it's probably a fantastic opportunity for people like the public, because I mean, you hear bells, or church bells all the time, but actually never get a chance to do it at all.
Or a laser one.
No, definitely not a
do a
laser
laser
one.
bell.
It's absolutely fantastic. So no, it's brilliant.
Would you like a go?
Oh, go on then.
Yeah,
go on then.
let me hold-
Can I give you that?
Yeah, of course you can.
Right, so
So it's a little
you're
bit
on
of...
the right hand one.
Okay.
You just pull it to start with and then let go. You can see it starts to move. You need to pull it when it's either side. Let it go past, then pull, that's it. Let go.
That's it.
Pull again. Let it go past. Pull again.
Oh, we've got a natural here, Paul.
Oh, no. Oh, no. That's the concentration.
One bell.
Yes.
To get the ring, ring, ring,
Well, they'd have 8 of those.
but to get the timing of
Yeah.
like
Yes.
multiple
What they do
people.
then-
Well, you could
what
do-
They do is they put it up on the stay. That's what, if I can get right to the top. It takes a while to get it up there, which especially is on that other seat. Basically, if they get it right to the top, it stops, and then you can kind of pull it. One pull will make the bell go. So basically, each bell they're all doing it in different patterns. But the thing with bell ringing the changes, it's called, is it starts ding 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 ding, and then it changes, swaps the last two. So it's ding 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 ding, and then it swaps around. There's this mathematical pattern.
Oh, fantastic.
And a full, I don't remember what the number is, but for full peal of changes, it's like, it takes hours.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's amazing.
But we've only got
Look,
two, so
oh,
it isn't
well,
very
it's
long.
still amazing.
We've got two, but obviously it's a collaborative effort. So if you're really clever, then you'll get them so it goes ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
Maybe
But-
we'll have a go again later.
I know, that's right.
Yeah.
It takes a bit of practice, but it can be done.
Sorry, remind me, what was the technical word
campanology.
for
Campanology.
It's the pulling of bells. I
pulling-
don't know what it is for laser though.
No, I
We'll
don't
have to,
think we've
we'll
got
have
a
to
laser.
create
We'll
a
have to
new
create-
name, won't we?
yes.
we think this is
Laser
the world first. We don't
campanology.
know if anyone else has ever done a bell with lasers.
That's absolutely fantastic. Well, we'll come back and find you again later then. Thank you ever so much. Thank you. So what's your names?
Amber. Charlie.
And have you been to the church before?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you involved in the festival?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm playing in St. Denker Herrick Silver Band.
Have you done any of the light displays?
I don't want to know.
Oh, can you show me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
My mum did one too.
So what inspired you to to create something so pretty. What's been your inspiration for it?
Well, I just really like doing instruments and stuff, and I like doing art and stuff, so I thought I would help.
Do you play any instruments?
I play the cornet.
Fantastic. How long have you been playing?
In the band about 9 months or so.
It's fantastic. So what are you looking forward to seeing this evening? Any?
No.
Have you walked around the church to see what other displays are at?
I've seen in the church of all the boats.
Yeah. Have you seen the electric church bell?
No, not yet.
Recommend going and having a go. That's very fun.
Yeah.
Because you can hear church bells in a lot of churches, but actually getting a chance to ring one, and if you look up on the wall there, you can see the lights of it, and it actually shows you as you go round.
It looks very fun.
It does look fun, doesn't it? So, have you done anything of the displays?
Yeah, I did the boats on the church over there.
Oh, fantastic! Have you enjoyed doing it and being involved in the project? Now, why do you think that using a church that's in a not very usable state, why do you have any thoughts on why it's important that we continue using them for the community?
Because people have been buried here and they should enjoy it.
And do you think as young people that it's important that we have historical buildings that you can look at when you're older and enjoy, and that it's not just left to crumble down?
Yeah.
Do you think you'll come back again after the festival?
Yeah.
Super. Excellent. Well, it's lovely chatting to you both, and have a good evening. Thanks. Thank you. Bye.
My name's Clare.
Oh, and you are involved with the project and the team.
I'm artistic director of the Daylight Group, who have come together with the Old Church CIC to transform this kind of roofless church into a space for community arts and community arts events, anything anybody can think of, photo shoots, and tonight we're launching that kind of new era for the old church. So we want to bring people in, we want to bring new audiences in, we want to see how the space can be used and, what its future is, because it needs to be sustainable. We need to make it work. And the Daylight Group kind of specialise in working with heritage projects to kind of support heritage funded projects, and we bring in money from the Arts Council, from Feast Cornwall, from sort of small organisations to run. And this whole thing has been made by the community. Every single piece that you see, pretty much, apart from, having said that lasers haven't, but the lasers have had a workshop in the village, so they did a laboratory of light workshop. So everybody sort of worked behind the scenes. So we've had the school making the animation box and the stories of they're the memorials, stories behind the memorials in the old church. And the timeline has been made by the Make Do Amend group and by local community people who have just been kind of making that work, which has been a huge thing. And that's kind of like a time, it's called a stitch in time. So it's a timeline. It's kind of stitching the church together, and it's also like the blood of the community sort of pulsating through.
Yeah. So we were just looking at them a minute ago, and I just said it like I wasn't too sure when I came in earlier, and obviously you could see what they sort of look like, but actually with the lights on, it's really an effective sort of piece of it weaving in and out of the church.
Tomorrow it will be weaving outside the church as well, but unfortunately, because we have been just battling with wind and rain, we've had to sort of like bring everything into the church tonight, and we've slightly reduced what we've got, because we've just been running to get it done in time, and it's really exciting, because I mean all those chandeliers in there have been made as part of the community. They're all groups from the community who I gave them a frame, and they've come back with something different, and it's been so exciting just to receive these beautiful creations. And there's so much creativity in the community that you just don't know until you do something like this. So it's incredible. So it's been a real journey, but we're here.
Excellent. So I'm going to have to admit something. I'm from Plymouth.
Okay. Well, I'm happy about that. We've come a long way. That's
Yes.
great.
And I am so overjoyed that I've come here to see this. But why are buildings like this, projects like this, and events like this important for people beyond just sort of the immediate St Days community to come along and see stuff like this?
Well, I think there's also, I think it's really important that people can see out of St Day what St Day can do, because we are just a village. We're not a town, we're not a big city. We don't have a lot of, you'll go to, say, Plymouth Illuminate, and they have corporate sponsorship, that everything is there, and it's incredibly hard work. But we're just doing we've been inspired by Plymouth Illuminate and Lumiere London, and we go to Amsterdam and look at their light festivals, and we try to bring a bit of those things into here, but we want to make it very much the community and show what our community can do, and I think we've actually really done that.
Yes, definitely. So you'd recommend anyone, even from as far away as Plymouth, coming down to see?
Oh my word, yeah, I think it's absolutely, and we're very welcoming. We've got cafe, we've got a nice warm space with cafe, and here you see the UV harbours where you can make an origami UV boat, bring it down and illuminate it in your harbour. So that's more about the diaspora of Cornwall. So you kind of take your boat on a journey into the harbour.
Fantastic. So tell me a bit more, because I wasn't sure what these were. I think Australia.
So this is the Americas.
Oh, the Americas, right.
So you can go from the Americas to Australia.
South Africa was over there.
Yeah, because apparently, I think the phrase is, wherever there's a hole in the ground, there's a Cornishman. So we are celebrating Cornish mining, because also this church has a diaspora history. That's the cousin Jacks, the miners are going abroad. So they have, around the graveyard, we've sort of hunted them out, and there are graveyards for people who died in Mexico, Bolivia, Johannesburg, America, all around the graveyard. So that's why we wanted to link the two things together. And it's about journeys, and it's about people coming from Plymouth on that journey.
Yes, oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So thank you ever so much for chatting to me, and I'm sure we'll come and speak to you later to find out how your evening's going.
Thank you so much.
That's all right.
Come and join us.
Yes.
And it's not that cold, is it?
It's not. And actually, once you sort of once you're in the space, it is quite protected.
Yeah.
So it's excellent.
Now it is.
Yeah. Super. Thank you ever so much. Good evening. Can I speak to you guys, ladies, for a few moments? So you have high-vis jackets on, so I'm presuming that you guys are in charge or responsible for something. Marshals. Oh, that's a very important job, very important. So how did you get involved in the festival? Or why are you involved?
Well, we go to circuit
training
and meet up with a lot of people that
does it.
Organise it, do all the organising.
So do you live in St Day?
Yes, yeah.
So have you sort of seen the development of the church as it's gone from being in disrepair to now this sort of the new development of it?
Well, over the years, they've done different things.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why we're never going down there.
Oh, you go down, you've not seen it at all yet?
No, we haven't seen it yet. No.
Just last few questions. So obviously it's a beautiful building even now in its state, but why do you think that development and heritage projects like this are important to the community and to sort of keeping aspects of historical buildings alive?
Well, I think, this used to be a mining area, and there's a lot of heritage in this area. I mean, it was lots of different minerals in this area, and people have, relations that have generations gone by. So it's nice to keep up.
Excellent.
with it now.
My mother-in-law got married in the church.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 1948.
Oh, fantastic.
That was a year.
Oh, there's a...
Yeah, there's probably not many left that got married there. Probably not now.
No, they passed away now, but I meant she got married in 1948.
be fun. Do you think she has any photos?
Yeah, I've got photos. Yeah,
So you've got pictures of what the church was like before?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, I bet that's really interesting to see the sort of the comparison.
Yeah.
Now. Anyway, well, I'll leave you to enjoy it. Go and enjoy. Ring the bell. There's a laser electric light bell. So go and enjoy. Have a lovely evening. Good evening. You're a parish councillor. Do you mind being interviewed for a few minutes?
I don't mind, yeah.
Thank you. What's your name?
Clive Jones.
And so you're parish council for St Days?
I am, yeah.
So,
I'm one of them.
so have you been down to see the church? Yeah, or are you on your way down?
I'm on my way down now.
Okay, I will ask. I won't ask you what your favourite exhibit is in there, but why are projects like this important to community and heritage in keeping sort of the history of buildings, especially churches, that are sort of slowly going into disrepair?
Well, it's all good for today. That is a landmark from a long way away, wherever you're walking around or driving. If you ever get lost, you know the way back. You can follow the steeple.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. And so why have you supported this project and its development?
Because I'm nosy.
Oh, right. Fair enough. Have you been into it recently to see the sort of changes and
No, the last time my memory of there is my mum and dad got married there.
Oh, really?
In that church. There.
Oh, fantastic! Oh,
I think they're one of the last ones to be married there.
have you got photos? I mean, not to hand.
Unfortunately,
but
both of them are gone, and I think we got one photo of them in the doors of the church.
Oh, fantastic! So so for you actually, the church is significantly important to your family history, and it must be nice to see that it's not just crumbling and being demolished.
Well, that's right, because we're living in the future, not in the past. So yes, that is the future, and I admire the people that are actually influential in getting it sorted.
It's been quite
Long
exciting
time coming.
seeing it on social media and seeing the development of it with like the new windows being put in and everything as it's gone on. So why should someone, if they're not from St Days, come along and see the Light Festival?
That's a difficult question, isn't it? It's difficult to know that, obviously being a resident of St Days for over 60 years. Why other people would be interested? Yes, because we've got history and heritage. Maybe they haven't, so they can sample that if they come here.
Well, it's very exciting. I'm not from St Days, so it's really nice to see.
Have you ever been to St Days Feast?
I haven't been here before, and I will definitely want to come again now I've seen it.
And the dancing in the streets, or you got to come.
I will do.
You can dance with me if you want.
Well, we'll see next time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
well, it was lovely to chat to you, and do go and enjoy. And they've got the electric laser lights.
Yeah. I've not
church
actually
bell.
seen them, so that's why
So
I want
yes,
to come.
no, go and enjoy. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you ever so much for speaking to us.
I'm actually one of the stewards tomorrow night, so I thought I'd suss out what I got to do.
So very wise, very
Thank
wise.
you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Hello, can I come and chat to you?
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
I can't drum and sing
You can't
talk
drum
at the same
at all.
time. I can do some rhythms, but if I'm playing a rhythm like that,
That's fine.
I'll go, hello, my name is Colin Seddon.
I like that, and then I can dance along with it. So, do come in. I love your dress.
Thank you very
It
much.
is-
Thank you.
I feel like you guys should be at like the Met Ball or something like that.
We need to be in a darker space, to be
Well,
honest,
either that
really.
or on top
Really.
of a Christmas cake or something, you know.
I think
Oh,
we should
it's
go.
spectacular.
Yeah, it's very. These look like stars floating around. It's quite nice.
We are the
Have
spirit
my
of
lights
light.
gone off? Oh no, they're still
Oh.
on.
Yes. Yeah, they're still there, flashing
You
away.
still-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, tell me about why you guys are involved in the DiaspAURA Light Festival and
we're kind of just like representing the spirit of light, and we just go around being light and making lots of noise and moving a lot.
Yeah,
which
we're
is
like
nice.
the fifth element.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we've got, air, sea, water, earth, and we are the fifth element.
Yeah.
So we are what you would like us to be in your life. Yeah. And just bring a little bit of spirit of dance and music and
Yeah.
atmosphere.
Excellent. So have you been involved in the project here at the church before, or is this your first time?
No, we did one. It wasn't. There was a bit here last time, wasn't there? But we did a thing about 2.5, 3 years ago. Was it about 3 years
Yes,
ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah. And it played at different places. So we did it at Carnmouth Quarry. Where else did we do it? Gwenap Pit,
Red
yeah.
Roof.
And one spot here, sort of all around the village.
It was a different project, but
Yeah.
not connected to this particular church.
Yeah, so it was different. It was working with the same team of people, a lot of them anyway.
The Daylight Group.
Yeah.
So, obviously, it's really sad that sort of church buildings and old historic buildings sort of do go into disrepair, but it is fantastic that projects and teams that have come in and are able to sort of regenerate and put things in that the community comes to. But why do you think it's important for communities, for history, for heritage, in us actually respecting and maintaining our buildings?
Well, I think it's important for people to understand what came before, and I think it's really interesting that a project like this redefines the space. It's the best you can do with it unless it's possible to rebuild it. But I think it has to be relevant to now as well. I think preservation of things as they were without really moving forward and changing is unhealthy, I think. I think it's good to have a recognition of what came before and an understanding of your history, but I think that things need to move forward as well. Otherwise people won't get engaged with them. They become nothing more than literally museum pieces. You know?
Yeah. So projects like this where it's things with the kids getting involved and alternative events and projects that happen.
And whilst the mining industry might have died in the area, the arts obviously survive in a huge way. And so why not celebrate the arts and use this space exactly for that?
So why should someone, maybe if they're not local to St Day, but sort of in and around Cornwall, Devon, and maybe even further, why should they come down for the DiaspAURA Light Festival this weekend?
Because it's cool and there's a lot of really interesting things going on.
You guys are here.
Yeah, there's people doing really interesting creative things. I mean, you can see all these people all behind you, all these lanterns and things, and mobile things that people have made. These have all been put together by different groups in the area, different schools and organisations, and that's just everybody getting involved in art. And everybody can be creative.
We all need some feel good, don't we?
Sorry?
We all need some feel good.
I think so, yeah.
And community work.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, I think we're going to break in a minute. So do you want to just sort of take us out with a beat and we can all have a dance? Yes, yeah.
Good evening.
Are you having a nice time?
I'm having a lovely time. I haven't managed to get out and properly explore the event yet because I've been in here, but I'm having
So tell me a bit more about the light organ.
Well, the light organ is made by myself. My name's Mike and my partner Jasmine, and we're a theatre company. So we are Coppice Theatre, but we use these colour-changing light bulbs to light our shows, which it's sort of been about a year and a half of tinkering with them, really, because then they're quite unconventional because they're Philips Hue light bulbs. They're just domestic colour-changing light bulbs, but we have this software that lets us manipulate them. And because we're a little theatre company, it works out really well for us because means we can have colour-changing lights and we can afford them. They use barely any power as well. And then we got invited to do this, so it's been fun to kind of put all those things together and turn it into a light installation, essentially.
So has the organ been a feature before, or why have you sort of incorporated this within?
Well, we know we wanted to do something with our light bulbs, and we knew it was going to be in this location. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like the location of the project informs what you create. So, you know, it being a cathedral, we thought it would be lovely to create an organ of some sort, and we thought of originally we thought of just having the lights light up, but then we thought it'd be nice if they blinked on and turned off. So that's sort of just a process of creation to come to that. And it's also great being in the vestibule area here. It's nice to walk in and actually
little alcove.
Yeah, you get that feeling of an organ.
So you're not local to St Day?
Yeah, we are actually. Jasmine is Pete and Claire's daughter, so and she's my partner.
Right.
So we're in St Day a lot. And Cornwall. So.
Well, that's brilliant. But it's just sort of, I was going to then ask, you know, why is it important that community groups or art sort of groups and creative organisations, why they should get involved in spaces that celebrate, doesn't have to be a church, that celebrate kind of local heritage and community?
Yeah, well, I think. I mean, to put it simply, to start with, this is an amazing space, and it's just come back into the community's hands. So it's really exciting to have a space like this that you can use. And I don't know, I think I always sort of sound a little bit like my grandfather when I say this, but I think like this day and age, things that get people out and interacting with each other and interacting with things in like face-to-face and tactilely, I don't know, I sort of feel like as a society we're starting to attach more and more value to that, because the more everything becomes sort of digital. So, you know, we've gained a lot from that, but it kind of shows how more important it is to actually have those tactile and social experiences with each other. So,
and I won't ask your age, but I'm guessing you're around my age. In that,
yeah, 20. Yeah.
Yes. But you know, for us, probably, you know, a lot of buildings are more modern. You know, things eat quickly, and you know, it's easier to knock it down and build something new. Actually, you know, as you say, community spaces are important, but actually having something with a history and the heritage, actually, I think that's important for us as we get older, for our children and grandchildren. And sort of, would you agree with that?
No, not at all. No. No, of course. And like as. I'm talking on a large scale here, but as the world becomes more and more globalized, which I personally think is for the better, and you know, as in theory people and countries become closer together, in theory, it's more important that local areas understand what makes them unique, because as one of the unfortunate consequences of things of sort of globalization is that you start to lose the identity of individual places. Instead you have the country has an identity instead of the county having an identity, for example.
There's wider spread,
yeah,
sort of distinguishable features within certain areas.
Exactly, like everything becomes the same. You know, you drive down the same road and it's the same Tesco Express that you've seen. You could be anywhere in the country, and so I think that it's important to kind of connect to and engage with the local area's history, because it kind of informs the identity of that place. And you know, we gain a lot from being better connected to the rest of the world and being able to access that quicker than ever. But actually, which I benefit from myself, is the modern world. It's great, but it does become harder to understand what makes you and your area unique as a consequence of that, potentially. And you know, as industry dies away as well, like, you know, mining, etc. You know, obviously mining used to be a large part of what made Cornwall, but now it doesn't exist anymore, and the same with many places up north. So it's yeah, I think, and obviously there's a lot of poverty in Cornwall especially as well, and now that the EU subsidies have vanished, and who knows if they'll actually get replaced by Mr. Johnson. It's all the more
So
community of these places.
So community spaces are hugely important.
Yes.
Yes,
That's what I was trying to say.
So,
yes, I think.
that's fine. That's fine. No, that's fine. Excellent. I might have to queue for a moment and see if I'm allowed to play on the organ.
You're welcome.
Is that okay?
I think actually kind of talking to you with this cacophony going on behind me helps me not really think about what I'm saying. So I'm sorry if I just kind of waffled
It's
for an
not
hour.
just a sound background. It's not just a light background. It's a sound background as well. It's very very exciting.
Especially when lots of keys are being pressed at the same time,
yes.
it gets quite bright.
That's very cool.
I think some of the light bulbs are still catching up. The computer can only manage so
Am
much.
I allowed to play for a few moments?
Please do. What kind of noise do you want? Do you want a classic, just normal piano to start with, or do you want more sci-fi?
Let's go classic piano.
Yeah. There you go. And then we can go to the 80s maybe. This is the arpeggiator.
So we're at the final part of the DiaspAURA Light Festival this evening at St Dave's Old Church, and it's been a fantastic evening of light displays and community, people coming together. How's the evening been for you guys? It's probably been quite a...
hectic, to say the least.
Hectic.
Yeah. I think we just about got it all done in time.
Well, I think the community have really loved coming along and seeing it all.
Good. I'm impressed by how many people there have been, especially as it's the first night. It's been great. Yeah.
Why do you think that something like this, a little bit different, utilising a old building in a different way, is so important for the community?
Well, the community has just taken over this church and converting it into a venue, and this is kind of like a celebration of that. And I think, yeah, anything that brightens up cold winter nights, it's got to be good. And the community made this really, or most of it. So people are coming here and seeing the bits that they've made themselves, which gives them ownership, which is great. Really good.
And it's been really nice to chat to some of the kids as well and find out the things that they've been doing and why they think that it's important for them to come and visit them. Do you think that sort of actually having that kind of intergenerational partnership within the individual and collective projects is sort of a good thing to celebrate?
Definitely, yeah.
Well, we were saying earlier how like having the children see their work projected on the front of the building, or have the inside the church, or part wherever it is in the church, they will remember that. It's like a memorable experience that they will take away with them, and I think that makes that connection very much stronger. So that they'll come, if they stay in St Day or they leave and they come back, they will remember that their work was full size on the front of the building. Yeah, so it's really important, and I think that's the thing, is because a lot of heritage things get associated with older people, and we're trying to kind of break that barrier. So like bring a different audience in and give them a reason to want to look after it, because it's not only the diaspora and the kind of the history, but this is an amazing haven for wildlife and the environment, and it's a beautiful graveyard. And it's, you know, in the springtime you can see all the daffodils are up and the bluebells and the wild garlic and all, and it's incredible. It's a peaceful and really atmospheric space that people love to just come and spend time in. And I think it's important that the, you know, kids and, you know, appreciate that they're kind of maintaining that for their children and grandchildren and everything. So, because it would
and
just
it
fall
has
into
been whole
war.
families, isn't it? Three generations have been coming all together, which is great.
Yeah. And we just need to, you know, preserve the history and just the whole kind of. I think it's a beacon as well. You can see it from miles.
Someone earlier said that, which so I think again, like I suppose, you know, churches 150 years ago, you know, when this church was built, it would have been the centre of the community. People would have come together regularly, not just on a Sunday, and unfortunately, because of sort of lack of faith or sort of, you know, investment in faith, now maybe that people don't come into churches as much. So actually it's that kind of understanding of heritage and history and buildings, and sort of the saying about the graveyards that have or the gravestones that have kind of people from all over the world, or who went to other parts of the world, or who came back from other parts because they originally had family here. It must be kind of a, you know, it's sentimentally a beacon as well as physically a beacon.
We were in here about a couple of months ago, and a lady from Tasmania, just happened to be in here clearing up, and a lady from Tasmania came in. She was so excited that she could come in here because her great-great-great-grandmother had been married in this church. And so she went, she was just so over the moon by the fact that she was able to trace her ancestors back here. And we do get visitors here from all over the world who come on that kind of pilgrimage to find their ancestors. And we went all around the graveyard trying to find hers, and which was really, really amazing. And she was just really over the moon. It was so exciting, you know. We just happened to be here. I mean, because at the moment there's not many people in here because it's not. It's been renovated, so it's not a place that's open to the public. So it's been so just when you do things like that and people, you know, you feel that that's really worthwhile, you know.
So I'm from Plymouth, scandalously from over the bridge. It's been fantastic to come along and see this, and obviously it's going to be hugely significant for people not just from St Dave's to come along. But in preparation for this, I was researching under the Church Buildings Commissioner, and so like the actual fund that went towards building this and the other churches, and looking at the list, there were a number that were built in Plymouth, but they've all been demolished or were bombed during the war. So for this to be on the brink of collapse, and for you guys to bring it back together, it's just absolutely fantastic. So very well done, and it's just very exciting to see how this continues, and hopefully we'll see you next year. Or I suppose it's as many events as possible that can be brought in.
We have more events going on in the year. We've got a community performance, and we've got a mosaic building, sort of like so we're going to put together banners and mosaics to sort of like over the next 3 months or so, and then we will be doing this. Hopefully, we did it 2 years ago, and it's always been our aim to be biannual because we're a small group. The Daylight group is really just 2 or 3 people that sort of galvanise the community into doing things, and we built up the momentum, and we have a lot of community support now, and everyone's just kind of like so keen to get involved. So it's great, but actually from the fundraising and all that side of things, we do it ourselves, and you know, we do it out of love, not out of financial gain. So we kind of like, we are going to be looking at how we can become more sustainable, I suppose, in terms of I mean, our events are free, and you know, because we want to reach people, and we want because also in Cornwall it's the there are traditions, and this isn't one of them. So we are sort of trying out new things, and we have to gradually introduce it, I think, so.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job at celebrating Cornwall and just the impact that it has beyond just sort of the town and villages that we're based in. So well done. Anyway.